What up, Moody?
What's up? What's up? I had to request you turn it on because we getting into my fandom bag shit. So you were asking me, just repeat it for the fans again one more
So yeah,
time.
we were talking about Ironheart and the big reveal that we've all been
Spoiler
waiting
warning, spoiler warning. Woo, 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 woo,
since
woo.
the beginning of
Deuces.
WandaVision, and that's Mephisto is finally here, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. And I think we both enjoyed the last three episodes. I think the last three episodes from my internet kind of browsing has been a lot more accepted than the first three episodes of the series. My question though is that Ironheart is being labeled as a mini series. We don't know if there's going to be a season two, when we're going to see Ironheart again. Um, and the cliffhanger that they left us on with her potentially taking the deal of bringing her friend back, Natalie back. The fact that we don't know, we don't even know if they just might just drop it. That's the kind of
Hmm.
the thing that kind of gives you a little bit of a pause, is the uncertainty around the character and when are we going to be picking back this storyline, or is the storyline just something that could easily just get dropped off because they filmed this show like 3 years ago?
Um, I'm my thought on the whole thing was that they would drop it. Like not the storyline, but the show. Like I would doubt that we would see Ironheart season two, or if we did see season two, then that would be the last of it. Because I view this season as really just we already saw Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever. You know what I'm saying? We already saw what her abilities were. So this show to me was really just more so about the introduction of Mephisto after finishing it. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing the new reintroduction of a different kind of magic into the MCU. So I put it at honestly, like, I guess for like logic's sake, I don't see Riri taking care of like, you know, her whole contract with Mephisto in in a major movie. So with that being said, I would say that there's a season two, but after that, then I would doubt it. You know what I'm saying?
I would hope there's a season two. I mean, again, I think the second half of the season was better than the first half. It almost felt like, to your point, almost like a prequel to
Yeah.
a not. It didn't feel like a character. It didn't feel like a introduction. Not an introduction, but what you call it?
Origin story.
It didn't feel like, yeah, it didn't feel like an origin story that you would typically get in the MCU, but it felt like a prequel to an origin story in an effect. But I don't know. Apparently, they have three TV shows coming out. One of them possibly being Champions, which I think has like a
Mhm.
bunch of like the Young Avengers and things of that nature. There's a
That's
Strange
effectively
Academy.
what it is.
Yeah, there's
Champions of the Young Avengers redefined, basically.
there's a Strange Academy, and
Mhm.
there's another kids, not a kids one, but something that has to deal with the younger versions of the Avengers. And so maybe she pops up there because, again, if she ended up taking the deal, her intentions or her motives are always going to be a little bit clouded. As far as a viewer watching her, knowing that she took a deal with Mephisto, we
Mhm.
know that her intentions are somewhat compromised.
Oh, I
And
guess
so,
yeah. She's gonna
so
be foggy headed, yeah, to
even if
understand.
she's in with, even if the next time we see her is in that champion show, it's like, okay, you're going to be there with Kamala Khan and all of these other younger Avengers that we've seen throughout the last couple of years. But while they might be a little bit more altruistic, we know that you don't mind bending the corners a little bit and taking
Mhm.
the alternative route. And obviously, like, your hand, who knows how her body's going to look like, because she took one hug of Natalie and you saw like the little scarring appear on her arm pretty quickly. And that
Yeah.
was even more severe than what the Hood had on
Yeah.
his. And so I'm just more curious to see when we pick back up with this character and if we continue to follow the character story arc. It seems like she might be an important person within the Young Avengers. I would
She
say she might be maybe the leader
mhm.
of the Young Avengers. If Tony was
Uh
like the Avengers, if Tony and Cap are fighting for like the the main Avenger spot. Like maybe who's her if she's Tony, obviously in this situation, and I guess who's the Cap on the other side?
We don't got no young super soldier. That would be Captain America. We still got
I mean,
regular Captain.
you have what's his face from Falcon and Winter Soldier, his grandson.
Oh, sure.
They haven't like officially confirmed him, but like he's supposed to be a young Avenger.
The case? Well. Oh, okay, sure. So. I mean, yeah, my thought is like I think I just saw through it like with the miniseries thing of it being like 2 weeks of 3 episodes apiece. You know, Disney's like we take a lot of L's on these MCU shows and we ain't got faith in it. You know what I'm saying? So like, or we know we ain't trying to stretch. We ain't put like our full back into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just go ahead and like push this out. So the fact that it was within 2 weeks, like the shortest season, like outside of like literally like the Netflix binge when they just dropped the entire season of 22 episodes and you could just burn through it. Yeah. Like I was pretty surprised at that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the schedule. So like when I just saw 3 and 3 and that was it, I was like, okay. That's why I was like, okay, yeah, they didn't put their back into it. They ain't got faith in Riri. So they were just like people who want to watch it like us will watch it and will understand that Mephisto is here now. You know what I'm saying? But there's no way that they don't like at least retread some of that when they go back to the movies.
For sure. And again, they filmed this like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was originally filmed at like 2020, 2022. And then they finally dropped it right now. So, and Marvel has since changed their approach to, you know, their television programming that I don't know how much of this got, you know, rejiggered since 2022. But I mean, for you to still put it out, I feel like there has to be some type of connection to the larger TV story. At least that's how I like to think about it. But that was a good starting off conversation. But we are on a special week right now. This is the 1 year anniversary of the Wrestling Rehab podcast. We did it. Like Paul Rudd said, look at us. Who would have thought?
We got some firework effects over there or something like that? I don't know.
I could have probably added it if I tried.
No, it's fine.
Nah, man, we did it, man. 1 year in the books. Wrestling Rehab podcast. And like I said last week, my Sunday Percy is podcast resolutions, things that we want to get done for next year. And I know one thing that we talked about, and we always talk about this because we're just two, I guess, 35, 36-year-old men that don't really care for it, but improving our social media game.
Mm-hmm.
And just being a little bit more active on social media and getting that out. I think that is the A1 podcast resolution.
A B for you, which I think will be a lot easier than you think. I know we both didn't put our back into it, is getting the rendering for our logo and shit.
Oh, LA. Yeah, definitely the artwork. We definitely need the artwork.
Yeah, so we can actually look at our spot on Spotify and be like, oh yeah, immediately, I got it. Nice. But yeah, that for sure.
Yeah. I like to get a website for us. So there's like at least a dedicated hub where you can kind of just go and just like get all the videos, and maybe eventually we might add more stuff, but it's just like, hey, go to thewrestlingrehab.com to, you know, just find us all everywhere and stuff like that. So that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that we talked about, go ahead.
More wrestling merch. I mean, that's also a personal thing, but just to match the aesthetic to show what we're actually covering. So yeah, that's like half me and half the show. That goes to the show. A little
like Wrestling Re-Up cup or mug, you know, to drink my coffee or stuff like that, or like a water.
So yeah, our merch, yeah.
One thing I also talked about, doing a little bit more when we have the opportunity to do it, but jumping on during creating more episodes that are more in time. So like
live reactions and stuff, yeah.
Like breaking news or something like that, or there's times where we're watching these pop-up shows, like maybe like next week we might give like a live reaction, post-show reaction to either All In or whenever, because you know next week we have like 4 different, you know, pop-up shows happening, so it's just like
I'm mad at WWE, honestly. Like I'm really mad. Like after you like brought it up earlier on pod, it's like Bro, that's a whole lot. Like, we know that All In is just one night. That's their WrestleMania. And
Yeah.
WWE's like, nah, fuck that, nigga.
I don't
Which is
even
what
know
you would
how they
expect.
even like. I don't even know. I gotta look at the schedule for WWE because like, when is all of this happening?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
obviously, Saturday
facts.
night's main event is going to be happening on Saturday night, but I guess Evolution is having Sunday, and then I guess you're having Great American Bash on Saturday afternoon. I'm
Mm.
just like, it is so jam packed that I'm just surprised that all that's
Yep.
happening.
Yep. Great American Bash. That's next Saturday. During the day, I guess, because
Yeah, it
Saturday
has
night's
to
main
be at
event.
like at 2 or 3
Yeah.
o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, because it's Saturday night's main event or directly after that. And yeah, Evolution is on Sunday.
Because yeah, Evolution and Saturday night's main event are both happening. I think at the State Farm Arena.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you need those shows double booked. But yeah, more live reactions that are like within the actual like time span that they happen rather than us having to wait a week all the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we call those half episodes. So that'd be like episode like 52 and a half or
Yeah, right.
not or 53 and a half or whatnot. But
It'd be
yeah,
easiest for the pay-per-view updates, like you said. I mean, we'll just make it selfish and make it about our fantasy rankings or whatever, our fantasy
yeah,
record.
yeah.
Which let's start the show because I want to get back to that. By the way,
What do you mean? Or fantasy show or fantasy rankings?
our fantasy wrestling score that we're keeping.
Oh, okay. You talking about like the pop-up show records and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Yeah, you finally got your first win. But yeah, let's start the show.
Doors opening. Step back to allow customers to exit.
Go ahead and the crowd. It's the Habasha Hayes, Samson. Here are my tag team partners.
Moody coming off the top rope. This is the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast.
A weekly stroll through the avenue of wrestling.
Follow us on our journey through social media. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. Here at YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everything at the Wrestling Re-Up.
Hey, what up, everyone? Episode 52, like I said, is the 1-year anniversary of the Wrestling Re-Up Podcast. Who would have thought that we would reach this point consistently? We ain't missed a single episode, even when one of us had to be out or, I had fire alarms going off in my building and whatnot. We did it. We ain't missed one episode, and that's the only thing you can ask for is just consistency. Everything
Right.
else will kind of fall in line. We'll keep adding up to stuff and being a little bit more professional with it, even though I like the casualness. But hey, we did it for 52 consecutive weeks, and then we're going to do it for another 52 consecutive weeks. So looking forward to episode, was that 104 next time? So and that'll be 2 years. But episode 52, obviously the first 52 that pops in my head is Ray Lewis.
It's the best linebacker number, which is Ray Lewis, Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis? Okay.
Yeah.
These are going to be good around these numbers because, like you said, we're getting a lot of defensive players.
Oh, Mike Webster. Okay, the reason that Ray Lewis wears 52, from the Steel Curtain, Curtain linebacker, middle linebacker. So
that's it. These numbers right here, 52, like the 50s. Actually, yeah, the 50s are going to be good because you're going to get like a lot of defensive linebackers.
Oh,
and whatnot.
yeah,
So
that's exactly what that is.
I can't wait till like 59, and we just talk about like London Fletcher, and I'm like, yeah.
I mean, we already know the 60s and 70s. Like, whew, that's gonna be kind of rough.
You got some offensive linemen in the 70s.
Yeah, true. I mean,
80s,
that's
80s. You get your receivers. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but that's the only thing, though. Obviously, like once you get to that high level, it's like, okay, ain't no other sports even wearing these numbers. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, is Aaron Judge in like the 90s? I feel like
he's 99.
Okay.
Yeah, he wears 99. Yeah.
Either way.
But yeah, like it's synergy because if you've been following us on our journey, you know that overall I've been busting Samson's ass, and you started off hot this season.
Yeah.
I got my first win. Not as much like a. Yeah, go ahead.
I was 2-0-2 prior to Night of Champions, and like I said, man, I knew Jade was the favorite. But I was still pulling for my girl Asuka. I'll take the loss. I'll take the loss.
Yeah.
But man,
That's why I said I
Man,
was like, I'm gonna be furious if I pick Jade because I was like, this was made for her. I'm gonna be fucking furious if Asuka wins this. But
what did you think
yeah.
about Night of Champions though?
Um, it's funny as I sit here, I'm like looking through the card again. We got just to run it down. Rhea beating Raquel in a street fight. Added late, we both picked a Karrion Kross to beat Sami Zayn, which
That did
didn't
not
happen. Yeah. Solo Sikoa beating Jacob Fatu for the U.S. Championship.
First singles championship on the main roster for Solo. Congrats.
Yep. And
we
our
got
two
a debuting Hikuleo. I guess his name is
Tala
Tonga.
Tonga. Yeah,
But-
exactly. And it's funny because my first thought was like, dang, is he that tall? I thought he was like
huge.
I thought he was like Roman size, which is still big. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But he's like 6'9". So yeah, that threw me off. But yeah, the rest of the card, we got our crowned king and queen of the rings, Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill. And there was never a doubt, right? Cena wasn't losing to CM Punk. It wasn't gonna be, Summer of Punk Part 2. So but yeah, my biggest thought was, I mean, the Solo stuff. We both had it coming in here. Like this was where it should happen. Because I would even like to see a hot potato. Like between them, I could see Jacob winning at SummerSlam. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that's the biggest thing that come out of it for me. Like as far as like things that, because once again, we're in here. Like we got expected shit, we got non-expected shit. So like going forward, my thoughts and focus comes out of this on Solo Sikoa and what is this title reign going to be? Because I really enjoyed Jacob, as I even said last week, as we were watching SmackDown together, you were hanging out over here. I'm all for Jacob's promo, but I'm like, yo, he ain't saying shit. Jacob he ain't saying nothing. He's literally just saying the same words and giving you the emphasis. Like if you can read through the code switching, then it's like, all right, you know what he's saying. But
did they change his music?
Yeah. Jacob?
Yeah, did they update his music? I feel like I was watching SmackDown last night. I'm like, I feel like that wasn't his song, his music. Maybe I'm, but because I'm usually watching wrestling like with like low volume on, so because I'm listening to something else. But I was like, I had the volume on. I'm like, that don't sound like his typical music. But I'll double check with you because you're a little better than me on that.
I didn't hear it on SmackDown or most recently because I was watching it on the Clips channel and shit. So they'll be putting the entrances in there and stuff. But like, I'll look at it or I'll listen to it in a bit. But
I thought a surprise highlight for. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say, but Solo's the big one, and then the other biggest thing is Jade winning King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring, even though it's expected.
Yeah,
like the fantasy booking is always going in your head, like after every pay-per-view, after every show. So just another part where I'm like, okay, I want to see how does she win this title because Naomi is obviously money. Why would she let her win it? You know what I'm saying? Why would she?
That's my whole logic with this. I'm like, why would Naomi let Jade win the title?
Yeah, for 5 seconds. Why would she even let her hold it? Like it's gonna be a Drew McIntyre situation.
Even though I wouldn't mind if she took it from her like immediately.
Yeah,
if Jade won it for 5 seconds and then end up losing, but I'm like, Jade is too big to not be like. I can't see Jade being exhausted after winning the title and then ending up losing it within 5 seconds. Though, I mean, Drew McIntyre lost it at WrestleMania after 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Because before his whole thing was like, oh, he just wanted to have a crowd there. And it's like, all right, we gave you your crowd. So you add the peanut butter to the jelly from those 2 WrestleManias and you got your perfect moment. Like, that's what they did. Like, bro, that's insane. But because I think it's a little too much to stretch it just quickly. Too much because I would think Naomi possibly champion going into Mania and Jade, is challenging her. But I feel like that's too long for even if she gets the title before Jade or interjects herself in that match and comes out the champion. I don't know how you can keep Jade off of Naomi for, another 8 months or 7 months until Mania. Yeah, or Bianca, I guess. Yeah. You're gonna need to get some good booking. You need a good distraction.
You always project these things out to like Mania, and I'm like, bro, we still got it's SummerSlam. I can't
Hey,
see.
we can do that.
Like, there's only a few amount of people that can hold a title from SummerSlam to WrestleMania.
You're
So
right.
if anybody wins the title at SummerSlam, you're probably losing it at like Royal Rumble, maybe.
You could be. Yeah, for sure. And that's where I'm like, who's winning that then? That's where I'm like, I'm trying to picture that. But I understand what you're saying. That's way too far ahead. But like, there's some
Yeah.
things that are just obvious. Remember, I called Tiffany like 6 months before winning Money in the Bank. And I was like,
Yeah.
she's the next champion. So I was like, yeah, it was just written all over her. So in the same, I feel the same way about Jade. Like they know she's a walking action figure. So it's just like, how are they going to present this white woman? You know what I'm saying? Versus
Mhm.
this black woman who's already the champion versus somebody who's like, all right, we need to make them equal. Because it's like, they ain't gonna let the black woman have all that power. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up looking at them, it's not even
Yeah.
a contest. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
I
but
think it was gonna be. I think. Do you make Jade the heel in that situation? Even though,
you
like,
could,
I think Tiffany, she's more like, again, I think because people are like they like Tiffany, but it feels like something's missing, and I'm like, yeah, she's not a face,
she's
and
not
I don't even know
yeah.
what she is right now. I think they're trying to play her off as a face, but I'm like,
She's they're playing her as a face.
I wouldn't even qualify her as a face. I think she's just a face by proxy, and
Yeah,
not
by
by like
default.
actual character. You know what I'm saying? Like, because even we'll get to SmackDown, but even when you look at the promo from last night where it was Trish and her, I'm like, that's not a face type of conversation that you're having with Trish Stratus here.
Mm-hmm.
You almost come off as you almost sound like you're trying to come off as like Gunther-ish rather
Yeah,
than
I
like
feel
a face.
yeah, no, she definitely, like I said, her best character to me was Center of the Universe NXT, the mean
Yeah.
girl. So it's like she's so easy for her to do that.
But again,
That it's
fans
like
also have an irrational hate for Jade. Is she the best talker in the world? No. Is she the cleanest wrestler? No. Is she someone that deserves to get booed? No.
yeah,
Like,
definitely
she's
not.
clearly the babyface in this situation, but are the fans going to allow that? I don't have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's my thoughts on Night of Champions. Everything else is pretty.
I thought one highlight in this as well was the Rhea Ripley Raquel Rodriguez street fight. I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed that. That was better than expected, especially with like the last, not much build to it other than,
Yeah.
the interference that each of them had in their King and Queen of the Ring qualifier matches. But like we saw a couple things that we haven't seen before, like when they took the top table
The table.
covering, and then I was like, they put it outside, and they laid it across like the barricade. I'm like, why would you do that? And then Raquel ended up powerbombing Rhea through that. I thought that was pretty creative. And then again, the ending spot where they had what they were standing on top of the table off the
And then
turnbuckle,
on top
and
of the
then
turnbuckle, and the ref had to come and hold it. Like, real quick,
yeah,
like,
and then Rhea ended up doing the riptide off
Riptide.
of that. I thought they put on a hell of a great match. I thought that was one of Raquel's. Again, Raquel hasn't had the opportunity to have many singles matches, but it was good to see Raquel the last couple of weeks kind of being in a singles bag, and I thought she had really good chemistry with Rhea. So I really enjoyed that match. Everything else, I think it was pretty predictable. The John Cena, you knew that he wasn't going to lose. So it was just like, how is it going to end, right? And so to have my guy Seth Rollins kind of come out and kind of cost CM Punk the match, I think the only thing that we came out of it's like, do we really want to see CM Punk and Seth Rollins again? Like, obviously, whenever those two cross paths are going to have like, really, fun, it's going to be really entertaining. But it feels like we've seen that enough within the last like year and a half that it's just like, all right, can we like come back at this at another point? Do we not? Can we not do this right now? Because we've seen
we know what that
we've seen it a little
like
too recently that I just kind of want a break from it. I don't mind it, but I do kind of want a little bit of a break from it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're right. That table spot was amazing, but yeah, you're right. For the most part, expected, but yeah, that's it for me.
So season totals for season 2 so far, we're 2-1-2. You are 1-2-2. But overall record, I'm still down. I have 7 wins, 14 losses, 5 ties. You could flip that for you. So 14 wins for
14,
you.
7 and 5.
5 ties.
Yeah. Got it.
But hey, it's still early, and like I said, next week we at least got All In, Evolution, and Great
That's
American
it.
Bash. And
Oh
no,
yeah,
we
yeah.
count Great
Right,
American. That's
yeah, that's yeah. I was thinking of the other one.
Saturday night's main
Saturday night's
event.
main
Yeah,
event.
we're not counting Saturday night's main event, but
Yeah.
we have 3 points up on the line next week.
That's
so.
too much, man. That's too much. This is where I'm like, this is some bullshit. Like, we just got off a 3-hour SmackDown, and I'm
Yeah.
like, we back to 2 hours, and I'm like, y'all do this to me? Like, this is like just in a vacuum, the way I feel right now, thinking about 3 pay-per-views, like, because obviously I'm not going to be able to watch all of them all at once.
Yeah.
Like, All In is getting a priority.
Oh,
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. If we're watching it next week in person, like we'll probably have All In on the laptop, and then Saturday night's main event probably we get the tablet.
Yeah, exactly. Because Evolution is going to be. Oh yeah, that's Sunday. So yeah, we ain't got to worry about that. That's not conflicted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Let's get into a current event that you posted.
Yeah, I did. I saw this. This is just a congratulations to Love. I love Love. Congratulations to Raj Desi, the former Jinder Mahal, who got married out in India. And not only that, but this is a wrestling pod. I mean, he is a former wrestler, but we had a 3MB reunion out there too. I saw in his Instagram, like the pictures that he posted. We got Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater out there with him in India, with like, traditional garb on and everything. Yeah. And Raj's wife looks absolutely amazing. So congratulations to them. And I'm like, man,
is he a former wrestler, or is he just like, taking a break?
I think he's I mean, are you ever not a wrestler? You know what I'm saying? It's just a stream of business. So it's like maybe he's taking a break right now, but
yeah,
man, Heath Slater, like 3MB and I got kids. Heath Slater was like, that got super over with me. Like, I got kids. like just a simple blue collar guy. Like, so congratulations to the Love, and we got a little bit of fandom in there.
And a little bit of a spoiler, I guess. I was like, is that a little bit of a spoiler for Drew McIntyre coming back this week?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's just like, if anything, it's a spoiler in the fact that he's healthy, right? Because the last time we saw him, it was the steel cage. So it's like, oh, he's off selling the injuries, and it's like, no, he's at the wedding chilling. Like,
he said he couldn't turn his neck. Like he said, legit. I was like, because I remember I was like, he couldn't do Blue Steel or Magnum, one of those. I was like, okay. But congratulations to Jinder Mahal and his wife for getting married, and like I said, we're fans of Love here, so congratulations to both of them. And good 3-man band reunion.
Yeah.
Let's get into the flagship show, Monday Night Raw recap. And this week, Raw was on a special time today. It was at 6:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Because they did a double taping. So right after Raw, they filmed SmackDown. And I'm like, man, that's 4.5 hours of television. That's 4.5 hours of wrestling those fans got to sit through.
That is an exhausting amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like 4.5 hours in person. I'm like, bruh. Like that's tough.
Let's get into Monday Night Raw.
I got 2 for you that are primo. The 2 best things, at least to me, on here was us getting to see like some good old vets like Rusev and Sheamus. I had as a primo. And also my other primo would be, if I was to put it in there, Judgment Day, collecting all the gold once again. But the other side of that is Reggie, which is the New Day's title reign. So, but the Judgment Day with all the gold, I like Finn and JD winning the titles back.
I don't mind the Judgment Day. They're really talented. I think it's just the fact that they have these title belts so often. It just feels lazy at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it anywhere. If anything, I'd probably put it as Shake. I'm sure the match was great, but like...
That's why it's primo, yeah.
I'm just like...
And the title change, but yeah.
It's like, okay,
I feel you on that.
It's
so
always going to happen. And then they always probably going to do it through some shenanigans and stuff like that. I'm just... I don't mind the Judgment Day. I'm just a little bit exhausted at this
Yeah,
point. That I'm just like, can we get something new?
I feel you. I mean, that's how we felt a lot of the times, like when we just had the hot potato back in the day of like the big three. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
like they don't focus on the tag team wrestling and on Raw at all. We know that. So that's why you asked me like 2 weeks ago, like, who's the tag team champions? And I was like, the New Day. And you were like, that's sad. I just don't know that. And I'm like, yeah, because it's just kind of like, it makes sense to me in my head, default setting, New Day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I can see Judgment Day taking on that like faction, like, I can see this being a shot in the arm for them. Like this is also the optimistic look at it. So I'll give you my optimistic and my bad look at it. But this is the shot in the arm until we know we're getting Dominic's face turn somewhere down the line. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, it seems like the group
But
might be changing into a face group.
well, or yeah, maybe it's Finn that ends up getting kicked out. But yeah, that would be dope if maybe just turn them all face. But the bad part of this is like, yeah, what I really want to chew on is like, damn, they wasted the New Day. This is the Reggie. You can't see one without the other. This would be
Yeah.
Reggie. Like the reign of the New Day after like the nuclear heat. Like I think I need to check, on the uppies, but I know it was definitely nominated for like
Well,
heel turn of the
that
year.
happened this year, so I don't think they would get an uppie this coming year because that happened in like January.
I'm pretty sure we did it at the end of the year, and they was there because it was either way. It was an epic moment that we should have like used the momentum from, and we did dog shit with it. We didn't even get like it's so amazing. We didn't even get like the Creed brothers haven't been featured at all. Like for the most part, unless Chad is there. Like I'm just saying, seriously, as a tag team, have they even gotten tag team title shots? That's what I'm
They
like.
did maybe like once or twice. But
Exactly. And I'm like, I feel like that same way we've been building up SmackDown, you could try to do the same thing on Raw, but
I'd say the
it's
biggest
my
thing
one
with
into
the
the
New
other.
Day, and it's not necessarily the New Day's fault, is the fact that a lot of their promos are not on actual television.
Yeah.
Their promos, they cut promos during the commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have like the Netflix without ads, they are one of the first people that were cutting promos during the commercial break. And they're not bad promos, but you don't see them on the socials. You don't see them on YouTube and things like it's hard to find them. If you're not rewatching the show, you're never going to see the progress in the New Day storyline or what they're saying. And so I think that's really hampered this kind of run for the New Day is the fact that, yeah, are they on TV per se? Yeah, but as far as like their motivations being highlighted on like the actual like 2.5 hour block of television,
they're not featured. Yeah,
they're not featured unless you have the ad-free version of Netflix, and then you got the commercial break promos, which I'm like, they're decent, but like you're never gonna know that if you don't have that.
Yeah, because like you said, they're not going to go back because you could go back and watch it, but nobody's going to go back and watch like older episodes of Raw. You know what I'm saying? So it's like just doesn't make sense.
At least these recent episodes of Raw, like I'll go back into like the mid 2000s, but I'm not going back to last week's episode.
Yeah, right. Like I'm already here now, and that's what. And even like it felt like we were still doing something with them. Remember, like when the whole locker room turned against him, like Ray was like, yo, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves and stuff like that. We even were rocking with that, or I was rocking with that, like for like a good like month, 6 weeks. Like y'all got kicked out of the locker room and stuff. I'm thinking like, yo, they just square up with everybody and like they just say fuck all of y'all. But like you said, we haven't. I don't know what their story is because it hasn't been on TV, and that's like the last real story progress that they had outside of just becoming effectively, man. I hate the segue. I know I didn't put it in here, but my other Reggie this week would also be on this fucking Raw is Io Sky just challenging Rhea Ripley. And I'm like, yo, you wouldn't give that spot to nobody else. You beat her ass every time. And then I'm like, in kayfabe, I'm like, but you're a face. So that doesn't make sense for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take Rhea because I can just beat her ass. That's a heel thing to do. You going up there and being like, oh, I want to face the best and shit. Clearly, it ain't Rhea when it comes to the two of you because you are 5-0. He has never challenged you. I mean, at least you could like this is the story we were telling earlier this year that Bianca brought up the stats. Like Bianca was looking at cagematch.com like I am right now. You know what I'm saying? Io, I brought up her cage match because I constantly bring this up. So Mania was 420. She defends the title, right? Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer, no contest, which is Raw after Mania. Io Sky and Jordan Grace in a tag team match win, April 29th. Io Sky and Roxanne Perez, May 5th. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, May 12th. That's all that she's had. She's had 4 matches.
She hasn't wrestled since May 12th.
Yes. That's what I've been telling you. Like, they put Io back on the back burner, bro. Like, right after Mania. They haven't done shit with her.
Months.
She hasn't wrestled.
Maybe there's an injury or something. Maybe there's an injury.
I wasn't tripping. I mean, maybe. Obviously, you can always have, like, you know, like lingering stuff. Maybe you're resting, sure. And plus, she's been on TV. I get that. But, like, she's the goddamn champion. Say,
like, she's the champion, hasn't wrestled in 2 months?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's the point I'm bringing up where I'm like, yo, for her to just go out of the way and be like, oh, yeah, I want to see you again. And it's like, yo, that's the last, like, thing that you did. And I guess the story here is like, yeah, since Mania, like, Rhea's exercised her demons and she's a good person now. Like, I mean, she's more of a good person than she was before because she was whining and petulant, which is why she got into the match, you know?
Yeah.
But that's some Reggie shit. Like, Io,
it just shows you, it just makes you feel like, yeah, this Io's about to get, everything is lining up for Io to lose her title.
Exactly.
And it's like, you're losing it to a person that is clearly the face of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And like that they really want to push over. Like, I mean, obviously she doesn't need to be pushed, but like, cause she's obviously like one of the top tier. And Rhea's obviously, this is nothing against Rhea. It's more of just like, again, you're kind of forcing this rather than letting it happen organically. And it's just like, all right, cool. Like, give Rhea her title back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
because if you want to talk about a match that I thought, like, when we're letting people choose the challengers, this was clearly Stephanie Vaquer. This was a Stephanie Vaquer spot in my mind to give her a title match. And she's not, and also I'm thinking she's not winning that match.
Yeah.
Io Sky, I mean, not to say that obviously Stephanie is super over, which is why she would also be getting this opportunity. But I think that'd be an electric match with Io retaining. That's the way I would do it. But I don't mean to belabor the point. So
maybe there's some character development. Maybe Io turns heel or something like that. Or, you know, maybe something happens with Kairi Sane. Because, you know, she got promo video vignettes of her kind of bringing back her pirate princess gimmick. And so, or maybe Asuka kind of interferes. And maybe you get a triple threat at SummerSlam between Asuka, Io, and Rhea.
Yeah. I'm fine. Either way.
Well,
but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I knew I wasn't tripping. I had to look that up on Cage Match. She hasn't wrestled in 2 months, bro.
That's wild.
But yeah.
My couple things that I got from Raw is these are both mid-rising, but Seth, Gunther, and Punk interact. So Gunther comes out, he's cutting a promo against Goldberg. Seth comes out, says, I got the briefcase, so you should always be keeping your head on a swivel. Punk comes out, tries to get to Seth. Seth scurries out of the ring. Punk is so caught up with anger that he ends up pushing Gunther. And then Gunther is like, bro, who the hell you think you are pushing me? And so just that interaction between those three, if we don't want to have Seth and Punk so quick, I'm here for Punk and Gunther.
Yeah.
That should be fun. So
I thought
I just like that three-way interaction between those three guys I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, and I think it was like a matter of, because he did come down there to just beat the shit out of Seth, you know? Yeah. So that had nothing to do with Gunther. And the fact that, like, I mean, we all know, like, because CM Punk's character is the fact that he ain't a character. He's just a guy, right? He's just CM Punk. So it works for me perfectly that it's like a simple, like, you know, I think of like a Bostonian from Southie or some shit. Yeah. You know, when you grab a man on the arm, and he's like, man, get your fucking hands off me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but and you gotta push Gunther like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't give a fuck how big you. I don't give a fuck who you think you are. So it's like that would be CM Punk's response. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, whether it's a smart, I mean, you can hang with Seth. Like he's beat Seth, so it's not like he needs any backup or anything. Like he knows how to fight his own battles. So yeah, you're right. I would be heel for it, but I think he would definitely get his chest chopped off. At least in this current WWE.
I'd rather see
that'd
Punk
be very
versus
interesting.
Gunther at SummerSlam than I'd rather see Punk versus Seth.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I'd much rather see that.
Especially
That's very
Punk gets a title shot. Especially if Punk gets a title shot at against Gunther at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Now it obviously leans to being like, hey, Seth has not all the right, but he has a really good opportunity of just coming in and costing CM Punk the title.
Yeah, as he said, as long as he breathes, he's never going to hold the title. So
yeah, so I mean, but I'm here for the Gunther and the CM Punk of it. The other thing that I liked here mid-rising was Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed getting the win over Sami Zayn and Penta. Now, Sami, for all his resilience, he was taped up and everything. He hit a suplex on Bronson Reed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which was hell of impressive, but it was too much. When you got Bronson Reed doing what he does and then Sami getting taken over by a spear, that's a little bit too much for anybody to take. So I'm just glad that the dominance of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed is kind of being respected. You know what I'm saying? Like I like that they are coming off as a dominant duo. I won't call them a tag team yet, but
I was gonna say we still need a name. We still need a name other than just like Braun and Braun Security. Just like the
Braun and Braun Security. That's actually pretty good.
That's so you can't have security like that. Calling them security is a demotion. Like that's a 2-time Intercontinental Champion.
That's
you know what I'm saying? You can't. Yeah, and Bronson Reed, like the only reason he's there is because he took the leader out months ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm all for it too. I really like this match. Obviously, Penta's like over as Rover. I mean, this is like, you could do. Yeah, I mean, really any combination of like those three going forward. Like, we were talking about last week. Just the triangle of like your next, title scene, and you got Bronson, Braun Breaker, and Penta all here. There's no coincidence. That's not a coincidence that this match is amazing. Just to go add to your point from last week when you brought that up, that we need to have that.
I have a couple shakes.
Mm-hmm.
First shake. So last week I was like, oh, a wild Ludwig has appeared. And, Pokemon, music if you want. Apparently Chad Gable is like legitimately hurt. Yeah. I don't know exactly what, but I saw a picture of him having surgery. Ludwig is dressing up. He doesn't look like Ludwig because I'm like, Ludwig looks a little bit more slender, but I guess when he's in the Chad Gable Americano Grande outfit, I'm like, apparently he's dressing up like El Grande Americano now.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this has the potential. This is what we want from El Grande, where it's like, because once again, obviously, I think we haven't seen Ludwig in forever. First of all, I mean, even you pointed that out, and this is the week before he shows back up. It's like the same way I was sure that El Grande was Chad Gable. I'm pretty sure El Grande Alto Americano, which is the bigger, taller American, is clearly Ludwig Kaiser. So.
But why? Like, this doesn't even fit his character.
That's why I like it. It doesn't matter. It's like a Scooby-Doo thing. Like, the way that they looked at them, that was literally a panel from Scooby-Doo. Like, when the monster comes out, and they're all like, oh, like, the same way. Love it. That's why immediately when I saw it, I thought it was great. Because it doesn't matter where the fuck it's going. Like, keep it engaging, and, like, keep it a mystery at this point. Now, at this point,
that's why I have it as shake. That's why if I didn't have it at Reggie, that's why I have it as shake, because I'm like,
sure.
I'll see where this goes. But
now that I think about it, that's exactly what you do. Because now they were the only people who were actually sure. They were going along with Chad, right?
Yeah.
But now that they got this new one, they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And now I want an actual Scooby-Doo mystery. Like, just place vignettes. They'll try and catch him, like, backstage. Like, you know what I'm saying? catch him coming out of the limo or something. Like, just do that for
They finally take off the mask and be like, Ludwig,
yeah, do the whole
Kaiser.
tied up thing, and then he's struggling in the ring. It's like, who was it? Jinkies. It's like you have Ivy Nile in like a Thelma, outfit, that orange sweater and glasses. There you go. Hey, gimmick change for and then you can get my girl from AEW. Lord have mercy. Oh my God, she just challenged Mercedes for the right at All In. She's like from the 70s. God damn it. Jamie Hayter, because she's just basically dressed like Daphne.
Okay.
So that's exactly what she wears. She just dresses as Daphne every week, and everybody's like, "Yo, she's stuck in the 70s," and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. But yeah, that's new gimmick for them.
My other shake is Bailey and Lyra double pin draw. And the reason I have this as shake, because obviously the match between these are two very talented wrestlers. The reason I have this is like, I don't know if you saw through the match, but you watch the first pinfall that happens, you're like, oh, I know exactly where this is going. There was at least 2 or 3 times in this match where the ref is literally counting a double pin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like you're literally calling this match out right now. That's going to end in a double pin. And obviously you're not going to give it. Great match. It just felt very predictable, especially the way you're spelling it out, because I'm like, the way she was counting these pins, I'm like, who were you pinning? Who were you counting for? Like,
but that's the thing.
On the ground every time.
That's why I kind of like it in the sense of like, I did have to like I'm not gonna lie, I had to like reshake my mind also watching it, where I'm like, why would she count that? But then I'm like, you would also like in kayfabe as a referee, you would have to count no matter whose shoulders are down. Otherwise, that shows his favoritism. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if both shoulders are down, then both shoulders are down. Y'all both, just one set of shoulders need to be down. If it's 2, then
I'm not saying don't count. I just felt like it was easily.
Well,
you're able to easily call that it was going to end in a double pin once they did it twice.
Yeah.
And they both kicked it. I was like, I thought that was a little, again.
That triple threat at Evolution probably.
Exactly. I was like, okay, I get it. You want both these people to be in a match, but you don't want to. It just felt not formulaic, but too scripted.
Produced.
Produced. Yeah, too produced.
Too scripted.
That's the best way to call it out. But decent show.
Yeah.
Anything else from Raw?
No. I think that'd be it for me. You talked out about all the other things that I cared about, so we chewed on the stuff.
Let's head over to the bodega, NXT.
Yeah.
You have this as a primo, and I have this as a mid.
Mm-hmm.
Did you call it the D'Angelo family disintegrates? I call it Luca stands up for himself. I have this as a mid rising.
Yeah. Either way, this was not. It didn't go either way that I want, or that I had it booked, which is why it's just primo. Like, because he didn't backstab. I mean, that's the obvious thing, right? You were asking me that last week. Also, you were like, "You sure he didn't? You sure, nigga?" And I was like, "No, I'm not sure, but I don't think so."
I felt that, like, I think Luca was right. He was trying to be on Tony's side, but Tony is so paranoid that you're eventually pushing the only guy that was on your side away. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So,
and that's exactly what it was.
Now, I thought he probably would go side with Stacks, but the fact that he ended up being by himself, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So, mid-rising, because I'm intrigued to see how this kind of plays out. If there's a triple threat that kind of plays out in this way, I don't know, but I just like the fact that, like, it makes it seem like he's going to, like, once he punches Tony first, and then you make it like, oh, he's going to be with Stacks, and then he ends up knocking out Stacks. You're like, oh, snap. And he's like, the only person I'm loyal is to myself. I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes between the three of y'all now.
Fuck with it. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I just like.
Where does that leave Adriana Rizzo? Who does she side with?
Well, this is where the behind kayfabe or breaking the fourth wall of it, where I'm like, I'm sure we're like keying up for like a Imperium situation. You remember who the other Ludwig's partner was?
Yeah, Giovanni Vinci.
Okay, good. You actually do remember his name, but like it took me a second to remember. So I was just like, I just don't want like, 'cause I really liked Luca's addition. So
Mhm.
it's like clearly, they're breaking the family up. Maybe Tony's getting called up, whatever. We've been saying that for a while now. So it's like, all right, cool. We'll give him a chance to like stand on his own, gimmick change, whatever. I just hope like it goes well because I mean, once again, right now, like you have your one rivalry set up, good, which would be, you know, Luca versus Stax right now
Mhm.
because he is the U.S. Heritage Cup champion. So it's like that's just gonna be effectively the epilogue of this story. But after that, I don't know. But hopefully, fingers crossed. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I
I'm
liked
intrigued
it.
though.
This
I'm
really felt
intrigued.
like the end. This really felt like the end of the family to me, which is
Yes.
why I put it up as Primo is the most important, best thing that happened.
Yeah, I'm intrigued though. Like I'm intrigued to see where it heads. Um, you want to go or do you want me to go with my others?
Oh, you can go.
All right, I have two mids here. My first one, and this is probably my favorite thing from the show, is Yokishi Inamura over Jasper Troy, and now is officially the number one contender to take on Obafemi. I am excited for this match. I can't wait for this match.
Hmm.
Like Inamura is my guy. I like that. Like I said, Inamura and Josh Briggs as a team is dope, and then like Inamura by himself, he's also sick. So this is going to be a hard hitting, like as Cass says or Big E says, big meaty men slapping meat, whatever. Like this is going to be fun. Like, Inamura and his little like bouncing little frog splash that he does, it's just like
Yeah, we need a name because it's clearly like I said, he's charging it up. So
yeah.
I just need to know like what
But
exactly is the name of that, but I don't know. It's got to be
I'm
something.
excited for this match. I'm really happy Inamura got the win. I hope Jasper Troy doesn't come through and interfere next week. I just hope it's just like, if anything, even if Inamura loses, I just hope it's a clean match that he loses to Obafemi and not Jasper Troy just being a punk ass bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it would be just because Oba's title reign has been completely clean,
Mm-hmm.
so far. So it's like there's no reason because he's not a heel. He's just a tweener badass. Like he's a face badass. So
I'm not saying
there would
Oba's.
be no.
I'm just
No,
saying Jasper
I know.
Troy coming out of nowhere and just like causing Inamura the match because he was like, this should have been me.
Yeah, sure, I get that, but it's like I mean, well, who's some other heels he's gone up against? I guess Oba's
Uh,
usually playing the
Trick.
heel in in
He went
this in the situation.
against Trick, I believe.
Trick as a heel. Yeah. Okay. But it's like, yeah, he's the biggest guy around, so it's
The other
always like,
guy he's like face was Miles Bourne, but
yeah.
Miles Bourne was like a face in that situation. So I
Hmm.
mean, Oba is not even like again. He's a tweener. He can jump between either one, but I would say he's just a. It's I don't even know. I wouldn't even. I don't know. What would you say Oba is, a face or a heel?
I
In this
mean,
current moment.
I mean, he's a face. He's a face for sure. But so he's a
Yeah.
face tweener. But like I said, he can bounce very easily because he's never like even his heel stuff that he does is like very heelish, like misogynistic. Like when
Yeah.
that's simple, and it's like just that is just like oh shit, like that gets your attention. But yeah, it's never like the most like it's never cartoony classic heel stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not lowbrow heel, like not grabbing the ropes and stuff. It's
Yeah.
not like that. It's usually just like character work on the mic where he'll be like a little extra disrespectful. Where I feel like that's why we can just say, I was like, oh, he's just badass. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like he'll cut you down to size, basically, give you a fall from grace. You know what I mean?
It's like the Black Gunther.
Yeah, effectively.
Except
Because
Gunther
that's
is clearly, and maybe that's the Austrian part of it, but like Gunther is clearly a heel.
yeah.
Way
I mean,
more
because
than
it feels very close to World War II Nazi shit. You know what I'm saying? He's Austrian, so it's like they were part of that Austro-Hungarian Empire. That was a thing.
My other mid. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You can go ahead.
My other mid here this week was Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame over Zaruka. I liked how this match finished. How Izzy Dame looked like she was about to get her head taken off. Taking what was like that falling backbreaker from Sol Ruka, and then she looked like she was about to get a spear from Zarya, and
Zarya,
then
yeah.
Tatum Paxley like pushed her out the way, and then Zarya ended up spearing her tag team partner, and they end up getting the win. So nice for Tatum Paxley to finally feel like she's got a family of friends. You know, she looks like she's going to be part of the calling. And Zarya and Sol Ruka, what's going to happen with them? Are they? Hopefully, they look at the tape and see that this was an accident. But
Yeah.
they never watch tape. So it's a interesting storyline that's playing out, and I'm curious to see what happens on both sides of the end, both for Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dane. Is Izzy Dane just using Tatum Paxley? Is this going to be the start or the end of Zaruka? I don't know, but I'm willing to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think I really like the work with Tatum Paxley because it did seem like or silly or very on the nose, you know what I'm saying, after like post releases, and it's like she's like, I'm looking for my friends and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, that's where I'm like, I don't know if I could say that if she's being used because she's actively doing this. You know what I'm saying? She went on for weeks to hang out with Zaruka.
Yeah.
And clearly just didn't feel included or something. It had to be something was missing, clearly. To the point where she had the need to, act out, basically, and, make that decision for herself and be like, you know what? This family has brothers in it, so I'm gonna go with the culling.
I just think, like, is Izzy Dane doing this through the goodness of her heart, and does she really care for Tatum Paxley, or is she just using Tatum Paxley as like a vessel to have somebody interfere in her matches and protect her?
I'm sure she's a heel, so I'm sure she's taking advantage of her. But have we seen that though? Like, we haven't seen that, right? It's only been Tatum's story.
This is kind of like the beginning of it, ain't it?
Sure, that's a way to read it. So maybe we just find that out later. Yeah, that would make sense.
But I'm intrigued by the storyline from both ends. I kind of want Zaruka to kind of break up just for the fact that, like, I'd like to see them both individually go after these single titles.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also surprised, like, Zarya came in the same time as, like, Stephanie Fakir and Julia, and they still got her on NXT, and they got her doing, like, tag team stuff. And, like, I know that Sol Ruka and Zarya, they've been kind of killing it on the social media ends with their TikToks and stuff like that. But I don't know, I'm here for the singles runs, so I wouldn't be mad at them if they ended up having a fractured friendship on kayfabe wise, you know what I'm saying? So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I get it for sure. Yeah, if I had to put money on it, that's because of like classic, wrestling knowledge. I would say yes. Izzy Dame is taking advantage of Tatum, but yeah, maybe they'll get to it. Hopefully they will. The top of the women's card, my mid that I had here, was just keeping the ball rolling, basically. Jordan Grace, saying she's going to become NXT Women's Champion at Great American Bash, and of course we get Fatal Influence to come out and say, bitch, no, you're not. And we gonna beat you down. So I thought the only reason, because this should be a shake, honestly, the only reason that I have this as a mid right now, and maybe I'm overinflating it. I mean, you could correct me, but like, it's just like, I guess I could just see this as like dumb face stuff, right? But Blake Monroe, like, immediately putting herself in that position to, like, I gotta save her, obviously, in kayfabe. I'm just like, I was thinking, honestly, that, like, she hasn't spoken that much. Not that much, but I was thinking for sure she was going to be a heel. Mm-hmm. We still got time for that. But I'm like, okay, we really doing this, face Blake Monroe right now. And I was like, okay, you didn't have to do that, Blake. Like, I just wasn't expecting it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the fact that, like,
it's like such a historical, wrestling spot, but I just wasn't thinking about her doing it in that context. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course this makes sense. She's slotted for the title. She's in the women's championship division. So,
and at the same time, like, immediately she was getting, antagonized by Fatal Influence, like, from the moment she stepped in there. So it's like, she really hasn't had the opportunity outside of Fatal Influence to kind of like, get into anybody else's business. So
Yeah.
it is interesting. I will ask though. So Ava came out and made a tag team match at Great American Bash between Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace versus JC Jane and Fallon Henley. So we said that Great American Bash is probably happening Saturday afternoon. And then Jordan Grace has JC Jane at Evolution the next night for the NXT Women's Championship. Did they spoil the outcome?
Oh, that would be funny.
Just by making that match. It's like, does that kind of give you a hint of the outcome of that women's title match? Does it make it almost confirm that?
I mean,
or
sure, and yes, because your thought would be that, well, obviously the champion side is going to lose, let alone probably have her shoulders on the mat. That could be the case because she hasn't been pinned since becoming champion. JC Jane.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a tag match, and we always know when you're a champion or you're trying to protect a champion and give them their first loss, the softest loss you can give them is a tag team loss. So it's not like you were outdone personally. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this just isn't your element. So
you think she's going to lose the tag team match but retain her title at Evolution? Not to say that you need to confirm your pick right now, but just from my early predictions as far as like, back-to-back matches on nights, it just seems like, okay, maybe.
I mean, it just feels, I think Jordan Grace is closer to it than JC Jane is as far as like call-up or like main roster status. So in that sense, I would think let's give her run. But like, I don't know. NXT is like, they can do whatever they want there. You know what I mean? Like, because JC Jane also just got the title. So it's like, it shouldn't be out of the realm. Like, in NXT, like, everybody gets their turn. You know what I'm saying? Or most people get their turn. So it's like, if that's the case, just give her, like, she's got another 2 months left. You know, you ain't got to do this right now. So.
Hey, maybe you might get your Blake Monroe heel turn. And maybe something happens at Great American Bash that ends up having Blake Monroe coming out, costing Jordan Grace the women's championship at Evolution the next night. I don't know. I thought it was just an interesting fact that you would make that match 24 hours before she's got to defend her title against Jordan Grace. So what else you got?
I think that would be. I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, my little pit bull is on this episode. Thea Hale. You know, I'm a huge fan of her. Her and Lainey Reed had a match that she ended up losing. So that's what was the upsetting part about it. So even the person you pull it for is
I mean, she ended up losing, lost because she ended up cheating. Because Lainey Reed ended up cheating.
Yeah, because I was like, come on, it's been a while since I've seen Thea tap somebody out to the Kimura, but she locked that thing on. I mean,
she had Jada tapping.
Well, yeah, but also lost the match, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, to finish it, you know? So it's like, she's still doing this whole scrappy underdog thing, which, I mean, I like, but I just wanted to get some wins, that's all. And like I said, I thought this one for sure, like, she jumped on her and locked on her like a spider monkey 3 different times. And I was just like, oh, she's about to fuck her shit up. And I thought the selling in the match was really good, too. So, but that would be it. That's the last thing I got.
Yeah, you want to talk about your TNA boys whooping Trick's ass?
Oh yeah, let me go back at my my Notion doc. Yeah, that's right. I'm so busy looking at the Bleacher Report. Yeah, TNA, they've had enough of Trick as their not really champion, or like not a TNA superstar at least champion. So we got Joe Hendry and Mike Santana showing up. Like, I really like that. So, just the fact that it's like the storyline has gotten serious enough. Like, I mean, even Santino Marella, like director of Authority over there, he addresses the fact that Trick is not, a TNA superstar. So it's going to be harder for them to challenge. You know what I'm saying? So, the thought of like Mike Santana and Joe Hendry just taking it upon themselves to be like, nah, we'll come beat your ass. Like, that's what I fuck with. So, I mean,
Who do
granted,
you
I mean, Trick
believe
still
in
leaves with
more?
the title, but huh?
Who do you believe in more between Mike Santana and Joe Hendry to knock off Trick Williams?
I mean, as far as like just overness, it's obviously Joe, but like the one who needs it would be Mike. I think beating Trick in that match would establish him. I mean, he's already like one of their top faces, so it's not like
Mhm.
within TNA. So it's like I don't think it's a matter of like him being slotted higher, but like maybe it's his own personal career because we already got Joe Hendry on Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? So
Apparently,
it's
Joe
like,
Henry's contract is also possibly coming up at
yeah,
TNA as well.
we said that 9 months ago. Like after
Yeah.
1 month of Joe Hendry, I said, or I think we were both saying, like, oh, this guy is he's coming here right now. Like, just we need to see that entrance, and they didn't even wait a year. He's not even on WWE, and he got a WrestleMania entrance.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on. But yeah, I would love to see Mike Sand. That would be his first title too. So for him to be the savior, or that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I would go Mike Santana as well. Anything else you want to talk about? Or are we good to move over to the coffee shop?
Yeah. Now we good. Now we good.
All right. Let's head over to Dynamite. And not only are we celebrating a 1-year anniversary, 52 weeks, Dynamite, 300 episodes of Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. So it's like there's 6 years, basically.
Yeah, about
6 years-ish.
5 years or 6 years. Because I remember we celebrated like their 5th-year anniversary earlier this year, I feel like.
50 weeks in a year. 50 times 6 is 300. Or 52 weeks in a year. So that's where I get that quick math from.
Yeah, but you're also adding like 2 weeks every time. Either way.
Of course. Yeah.
Either way. Yeah, AEW for like they've done a great job as far as building up to All In for next week. Each of their episodes have been really well done. Obviously, they've had a lot of themed episodes. With being the summertime. I'll let you kick it off because I pretty much dittoed most of what you had.
Yeah, the best thing on this episode was Mercedes and Mina Shirakawa in the main event, or not in the main event, but was it? That was nothing close to
No,
show.
that wasn't the main event. That was second or third match.
Yeah. I just think of Mercedes as the main event. That's what they want. You know what I'm saying? But either way, I'm all about the wrestling. The wrestling was amazing. It's funny because like we call like Mercedes one of the best in the world, and she just continues to do it. And I think I always do this where it's like, I guess I just really underestimate the strength of women and just in general. Like, I'm willing to hit the Saji button right now in myself where I'm like, every time I look at Mercedes, I don't know how she's doing power moves like at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because she is still so like very feminine looking. She's not like completely jacked like a Charlotte or Jade or Bianca, but it's just like, man, like this is where, Matt chemistry and the business really, brings it home, and you can just have an electric fucking. And I would honestly say this is probably Mina Shirakawa's best match in AEW since she's been here. I would probably say that. Okay. And even with like the drama of it all, the only other one would be hers and Toni Storm, because she was part of that, the last bit of like her versus Mariah May.
Yeah.
But one of those two. And even just like her being basically proxy of Toni Storm. This is like, now that Mariah's gone, this is as good as you're going to get at beating Toni Storm without it actually being Toni, because, they go back and all this type of stuff. So for it to end with like Mercedes still on this hot streak, still not defeated in singles combat, just using Toni Storm's other finisher, her big package, this entire time, the biggest package, proven to Toni that she has a bigger package. And that's how she gets the win here. So, and stands tall like the villain that she is, because Toni comes in to, console Mina Shirakawa and help her up. But it's like, nah, she takes one of those mini Sonic Ring 6 or 7 titles that she got and hits Toni in the back of the dome and knocks her out too. And I'm like, shit. Man, pretty sure TBS title, but yeah.
No, yeah,
I enjoyed it.
this was a great match. I think between this match and the other one I had was the Okada versus Ibushi.
Hmm.
Those both had titles on the line, but I felt like obviously the Okada's not going to lose his title a week away from the
Yeah,
title
right.
unification match. So I'm like, all right, that's a mid rising for me, just for the fact like the match was great, but the outcome is pretty much set in stone that he is not losing his title before facing Kenny Omega for that title unification. But with Mercedes, it's like, yo, like, are we gonna have the entire AEW women's roster
Coming after her.
division tied up between Mercedes? Like, is she gonna just retain this TBS title and then also takes Tony's AEW's Women's Championship? And that means she's gonna have the entire women's division is gonna have to run through her. So I was like, hey, there's still a slight percentage chance that she might be able to lose this belt to Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. So, and I think one thing the Masked Man had pointed out a few weeks ago, obviously AEW has a lighter schedule than WWE. So it just shows you that, like, man, Mercedes not having to run her body into the ground every week for like house shows and stuff like that. She could just kind of wrestle at like an even paced kind of schedule where it's like, oh yeah, like I don't need to wrestle for 2 weeks. I could literally sit on the side and eat steak and drink wine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I can still come out and then have this beast ass match. It's just like every time Mercedes steps in the ring, it's going to be a high quality match. And so I have no arguments here for it to be primo. Now, I think, again, as far as the builds go, I think the build has been going great. I think right now it's a toss-up. And I need to see what happens on Dynamite next week. I need to see, like, who's the last person standing neast week on Dynamite.
That's what you'll go off of.
Yeah, because right now I'm like, I can't tell you.
Because you're right. If any, I want Mercedes to win just so we can have that image. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. I mean, her whole character is being like Ric Flair arrogant. Like, and this is like Tony. I think Tony's promo really put her in her place where it's like on Collision, which was electric, by the way. And she was like, "Am I just another like title to you?" But she always drips all of her promos of sexual content. Like she was like, "Am I a whore you don't adore? Is this just another title for?" I don't know. She said something like a bridal experience, like they were going to be lesbians or something, you know. And I was just like, "Yeah, you're right," because it would be like that'd be number 7 that she's carrying around. Because my thought, once again, quick booking, but I can't help have her win it. But I just want to because she has been at the top of the card this exact same time. So whether she's had the world championship or not, I feel like she has been on equal footing with Tony because Tony has also taken a step back basically since post Mariah May, since the Hollywood ending. There's been a significant step back with Toni Storm. So my booking for Mercedes would have her be the evil champion, 7 belts and stuff, and have her slowly, but maybe not so slowly, lose all of her other titles. You know what I'm saying? And obviously TBS will be the first to go, and then we can have this whole like almost Tommaso Ciampa in NXT where he became obsessed with it and was calling it Goldie and was shaking and rocking backstage. Like, I don't want to let you go. So I think that could work with Mercedes, but I mean that's what came to my head. But let her cling to the AEW World Championship because she knows she's like the money train is over. The money train is riding off the tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't this
you lost to Harley Cameron? You lost your TBS title to Harley Cameron. Your career is going downhill, Mercedes.
Isn't this like her first actually like opportunity to actually go after the AEW Women's Championship too? Like I feel like this is like they've done a good job of making her stay away from going after the Women's Championship. She's always been kind of focused on like at least the TBS Championship. And I'm like, hey, for your first attempt to just I don't know. I feel like even on a non-kayfabe aspect, as AEW, wouldn't you want to have someone like Mercedes go on like Good Morning America with 7 belts on?
With 7 belts, yes, of course you want that because it's like we know what the WWE title, we know what a WWE champion looks like. Yeah, and granted, Sasha has done that before. Now we're Mercedes. We ain't seen it like this. You know what I'm saying? That's like when you come out with 7 belts. That's like when you come out with the WBC, the WBF, and the lineal light heavyweight champion, as a boxer. You know what I'm saying? It gives it like, at least visually, if you're just a passing fan, you're like, damn, she be beating ass. You know what I'm saying? That's what you would be like. Yeah, that's what my thought would be. So I would love to see that. That's what my thought is. You got to have her. She'll be on top of the mountain for like 2 months and like wait until like their next big one, like Full Gear, and we'll start like the downfall of Mercedes. And by the end of it, maybe she has the belt for like a year or something. But yeah, that's it. That's enough on them. But I love the women. Like, yeah, been featuring the shit out of them for sure. We still need more than just the top of the card, Tony. But at least the top of the card is being respected. So
yeah.
That's the best thing on the show. The next best thing on the show to me, I assume you would agree, is Hangman calling for Texas death.
It was a good promo.
Yeah.
Do I think we needed this stipulation? No, but I guess it just makes it easier for people to interfere. Like, we already knew, I already understand how the match is going to play out before we even said this. It's like, you're going to get the what you call it? What's the
Death Riders?
The Death Riders, they're obviously going to all come through. The Ops are going to come through. Hangman and Swerve are going to come through. Not Swerve, Hangman and Swerve. Swerve and Ospreay are going to come through.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just going to be big-ass shenanigans. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to go home happy, and Hangman is going to be your champion. I'll call that right now.
That's what Shoes was saying on Mass
Man.
That's
my easiest call.
It's probably it's the most telegraphed out of all of them. Like, when you talk about, like, everybody's building up Bloodline, or, like, Cody's story, the end of it and everything. It's like, this is the most telegraphed, like, obviously, like, this is what's happening. For sure. There's no doubt that Hangman's winning. So, I mean, just for thoughts on it, I don't know if you knew this, but Texas Death Match also is like Hangman's match. He is
which
undefeated.
Makes no sense because he's from Virginia.
Yeah, I know you do bring that up, but I mean we got Cowboys in Virginia, but
okay,
and call it Virginia Death Match. Yes, of course, yeah, because we got. I mean, even CZW is in Maryland, and that's Combat Zone Wrestling, which is like the most hardcore of hardcore. Like Moxley, Swerve, any one of those, like deathmatch guys has gone at least a tenure in CZW for a bit. Yeah. So yeah, to me it just made sense because you could be like, all right, this is just unnecessary, or it is like the nuclear option, obviously. But in kayfabe, it also is Hangman's match where he's never lost. So it's kind of like Edge in a TLC, that I like. I was like, okay, he's tilting it in his favor, but that also, I would argue, I mean, that leans into Moxley, which is why I think it is such a good stipulation because it's like Cass said before, it's like if anybody's earned the right to be hyper violent, like and bleed like a stuffed pig, it's Moxley. You know what I'm saying? That is his style. So yeah, that will be happening. I'm sure there'll be razor wire and all. Like I guarantee it. Yeah. But yeah, he ended this episode standing tall. That's all you got. That's all you got, little bitches. Like, basically, so gotta love a face fighting uphill. He ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if anything, it just proved to me that Moxley was scared. If anything, the fact that he jumped him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As I said, I'm excited for the match. No, again, sometimes the stipulation is not necessary, but I get it. Like, we already know, like, it just clears out the way for interference to not be something to call a DQ. So I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be just as, like, as people were calling WrestleMania 40 Endgame. It's, literally, Endgame 40, yeah. It'll be the same thing. Because right now, I mean, it honestly is the best booked main event, like, title.
I would say Tony and Mercedes.
Well, I meant men's division. Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite for sure. That's the best booking they've done, like in all of AEW for sure. It's Mariah and Tony. Or like, I guess you can build it up to now. Yeah,
I'm saying Mercedes and Tony. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, if you count all of the characters up to this point, I could see that. Because like you said, you kept them apart for a year, but like the whole story as far as like being entrenched.
Yeah.
Because like the closest this starts with like, Swerve turning heel on him and being like, yo, you get too many opportunities all the way up to this point. So for him to like almost kill Swerve and almost kill his mentor and like break his neck, so he had to retire, and like then he has to reflect on himself and like come out the other side and all that shit. So yeah, it's really well booked, even though you would say the other end of that, especially at the beginning, was pretty light. The Death Rider stuff. We were like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
But if anything, I think it's come, like I said, I like the Death Rider. I think it's come full circle enough to the point where it's like they were, I mean, I want to just say a heel group for the sake of being a heel group, but we know what they were doing. Like I said, making it in his image. Wasn't communicated very well, but I think it was also about like just the intimidation that they all had. And if there's a story for Moxley, then it's like this is the first guy he hasn't intimidated. You know what I'm saying? At least in a serious way, all the way up to the point where he's standing, because ain't nobody else stood up and been like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass." Maybe Swerve did, but where we're taking him seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's enough of my ramble on that. Yeah, let's talk about. I mean, yeah, Okada and Ibushi was amazing.
I mean, yeah, I already talked enough what I was gonna say. It's like great match. Outcome was never in doubt. So
yeah, you're right about that. I guess I'll just add one last note on that. Was Ibushi was just reminding me of like RVD in the sense of like just the great selling of like whenever somebody's spiking themselves on their head or like on the back of the neck type of thing, I just think of like flimsy cruiserweights, and king of that is RVD.
Yeah,
and just take that, like his selling, and then the combination of like, oh yeah, they actually have a rivalry, and this is actually one of the best like chemistry moments that Okada has had in AEW. They came up from the same system, so it's like, yeah, you see the battery was in Okada's back for this match. He put his back into that Rainmaker, so yeah, really good match. And my other mid was MJF winning the second spot in the Casino Gauntlet match, beating AR Fox, Anthony Bowens, and Brody King. Really great stuff. Almost felt like similar to a party match to me. Just the not breakneck pace, but everything is timed so well, where it's like everybody gets their stuff in, everybody looks. It could have been anybody's match, honestly. If you would have taken all of the characters in a vacuum.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
If the storyline
MJF wasn't MJF,
it's all setting up for MJF versus what's my guy's name? Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, Mark Briscoe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. Like, it literally could have been any one of them, but the fact that like there's so much build up to the storyline of Mark Briscoe and MJF, I'm like, all right. Like we knew MJF was gonna win it, but it was done. It was done. It was. I agree. It was done well. It was done well. Everybody got their shit off.
Yeah, and yeah, MJF won with the salt of the earth. My shake, or I guess our shake. I said Jet Speed got heart, but not brains, but maybe. Like meaning about the prediction next week. Because similarly to like Fraxium, where I'm like, I mean Fraxium, they were tag team for a year and a half, so Hurt Syndicate isn't even close to that. But like in the same sense that like, I mean, their main booking hasn't even been tag team stuff. It's been the MJF shit. You know what I'm saying? At least as far as like their storyline, because it's really been more so a stranglehold on the tag team division. Which not to say that I mind, you know what I'm saying? But similarly, where I was like, yeah, you're gonna need when Hank and Tank, beat Fraxium. I was like, how are you gonna beat Fraxium? Either just big guys or storyline. And I'm like, this story's been pretty good for it to be like a, Franken team, Jet Speed initially. I even just watched an interview with Speedball with Renee Paquette, and he was just saying, just like a lot of things in your youth, you just get thrown together, and the chemistry was just immediate. You just don't question it, like when something's working. So, yeah, but can they win? Maybe they can win. I mean, I would give them the most significant shot out of it, like anybody else who's come up before them. So
I hope they win, because I do think there is I feel like the Hurt Syndicate, while they're not a bad tag team, I think it does feel like the AEW tag team division feels comparable to the Raw tag team division. Where it's just like, who is there?
Yeah, if it's not gonna be like the Young Bucks or trying to think. Like, who was super over? Like, I mean, the original acts were like really super over. Like, I think of
Private Party.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it took them forever because they were originals and they didn't get it till like the 5 year point, and
Mhm.
then they only had the titles for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Because Hurt Syndicate smashed them into oblivion, and they haven't looked back since then. I was gonna say the Scissor Bros. I can't remember.
Oh
Scissor,
yeah, the Guns.
yeah, or the Guns. Yeah, the Guns were super over. Like we haven't seen the Guns in forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm missing that. I mean, I'm kind of cooked on the Paragon personally.
You brought up the Young Bucks. I'm cooked on the Young Bucks being in a tag team division.
Sure. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's like the Hardy Boys. They're brothers, so it's like
I get
legit.
it,
So
but
it's
it's
like,
just like it's that's where I'm like, if you go with Jet Speed, it kind of unlocks. I feel like there's an opportunity to unlock the tag team division a little bit more than you can do with the Hurt Syndicate.
sure. I mean, yeah, because obviously at this point, it's not like the Young Bucks need the titles. They don't. Like they're at the top of the card as like the founding fathers and stuff, which I love that gimmick too. Them just changing into that. Um, I don't think they're slotted well, so it's just a matter of yeah. I mean, book the actual tag team. I mean, more so than like MJF, really, because that's really what it's been about. So, that's my only thing.
I mean, do you imagine if MJF wins the Casino Gauntlet and the Hurt Syndicate lose the tag team titles? That's just the ego trip that's just asking for an ego trip.
For MJF.
To kind of
get
at Bobby.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, and that's why I'm like, I actually like the beatdown that the Hurt Syndicate gave to Jet Speed. To your point, they're idiots to keep asking for more.
To keep asking for an ass whooping, like seriously.
But I'm again, like I think they might pull it off. If you ask me to make a prediction today, I would pick Jet Speed over Hurt Syndicate. But good thing I have a week to make that choice, so I don't have to make that decision until next week.
Yeah.
Anything else from Dynamite?
Nope, that is it. Let's go to the Book of Wrestling.
I think AEW again has just been on their build up to All In. They've been outclassing WWE as far as wrestling programming. I don't know in the last few weeks for pretty much since the start of June. I would say.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess that would be their road to All In. What would that be called actually? Because you got the road to WrestleMania, so it's like you're saving up for All In. Because I'm like, what's like the lottery theme or the casino theme of like? Oh, I guess it would be like, what is it? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It would be like Fear and Loathing and All In or something like this. They're driving to Vegas in that movie, so I don't know.
All right,
but the Book of Wrestling.
Yeah, let's head to the gallery. The Book of Wrestling. We have two items on the docket.
And one match that is not on there, but yes, 2 items. We have a historical event, or I guess both are historical, but I guess you would want to go with the older one, right?
Sure, I'll go with the older one. July 4th, 1987. The invention of War Games. 1987, NWA, the Great American Bash, was held at the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, and is notable for a debut of War Games match created by Dusty Rhodes. The match, inspired by the film Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, usually involves 2 teams in the ring. 2 teams of rings. Involves 2 teams of rings. No, 2 teams of wrestlers that enter a steel cage that surrounds 2 rings. I don't know why I skipped the sentence. That start off inside the structure with alternating teammates allowed in certain intervals and is won by a single pinfall submission. In the main event of the show, the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, Nikita Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, and Paul Ellering defeated the 4 Horsemen: Ric Flair, Art Anderson, Lex Luger, Tully Blanchard, and J.J. Dillon in a War Games match. And now we have War Games match back again in the former Survivor Series, so the history of War Games still lives on.
For sure.
And that was like old school War Games, where they actually had like a a top on the cell.
The top on the cage. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. The other entrant that we got in here, which I thought this was interesting. I never heard of this moment, but it was just as I was searching for it, the usual websites I'd be going to. And this is what they called the most awkward match in WWE history, as per, voted by the WWE audience in 2013. But this was 2001, the main event of WWF Raw, Monday Night Raw at the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington, featured the first ever WCW match on WWF television. WCW had been bought out by WWF in March the same year. The match saw Booker T defend the WCW championship against Buff Bagwell and is remembered for all the wrong reasons. Yep. Bagwell was wrestling in his first match in months and quickly ran out of steam. The crowd were chanting boring and this match sucks throughout. And the loudest cheers came when Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kurt Angle, both heels at the time, attacked Booker T. It was Buff Bagwell's one and only WWF match and was named the most awkward match in WWE history by WWE.com in 2013. So I thought that, or not fan voted, but WWE.com, so their own people. This is
I mean, I remember watching this because at the time it was like they wanted to kind of make WCW their own show.
Yeah.
And so literally they were like the last 30 minutes of Raw, they pretty much almost like reformatted it to just be like a WCW show. So I believe they even switched out the announcers. And like switched out all the graphics and everything to be like WCW. And they were not having it. They were not having it. This match was, the way it's written, it's exactly how it happened. Like, not that entertaining. Obviously, Booker T was doing his best, but again, like Buff Bagwell, he was just been sitting off his WCW contract before he came back. So again, like, it was just a weird ass match. And then all of a sudden, like Stone Cold and Kurt Angle just come out of nowhere to just kind of like cause interference and kind of end the match. But that was something that they tried to make it work, but it just did not work from the jump.
Yeah, clearly didn't. Interesting. I'll go back and watch that. But the match that I have put in here now, my bad. Today, 2016, so 9 years ago, TNA's first and honestly genre-defining cinematic match, redefining the industry. Other companies can do it too. Mm-hmm. In 2016, Impact Wrestling aired what is considered to be the first true cinematic match in wrestling history, titled The Final Deletion. The match pitted Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy and was filmed at the Hardy compound in North Carolina. This match introduced the wrestling world to the broken universe and led to a career resurgence for both Hardys, who were resigned by WWE the following spring. It also led to creative acclaim for the segment's producer, Jeremy Borash, who made the leap to WWE in the aftermath of this series of productions airing. The legacy of the cinematic matches heightened in 2020 during the depths of COVID-19 pandemic, when traditional wrestling matches became harder to film, most notably the Boneyard match of The Undertaker versus AJ Styles, which was also produced by Borash. The match not only main evented night one of WrestleMania 36, but also served as the last match of Taker's illustrious career. So thank you, Jeremy Borash, for your work and the Hardys, obviously. The Final Deletion is awesome.
Yeah.
Go back and watch.
I don't have to watch because I've already seen it. So there's not anything that I have to like, oh, okay, I'll go check it out afterwards. I've actually seen the Final Deletion match. Interesting match.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's what I thought was so awesome. Like I said, once again, wrestling is so fun when you just lean into it, and like you said, it's a fucking show. Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. Like we know that they don't live here. Like Matt Hardy is constantly referencing the Hardy compound. It makes sense to see the Hardy compound, but you got like his assistant that's a goddamn drone, like Alpha One or whatever, that's like constantly showing up and like giving projector screens and shit. It's like, what the hell am I watching? Like, it's amazing. That's the stuff. That's the stuff shooting my veins. Like,
didn't they also have one with Randy Orton?
Yeah, that was him and Bray Wyatt when they had the Cabin of Horrors match or whatever. Remember?
Or like Matt Hardy or like Jeff Hardy. Like I thought they could have had like a similar one with like Randy Orton, but maybe I don't know. have a better
Yeah,
memory
that was
for
Bray
that
Wyatt.
show.
That was like the House of Horrors match. Remember? That's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing that happened. This is more of a current event and something that you kind of, I guess, unknowingly called out, but you
Mm-hmm.
apparently got correct. So last week we talked about Roman Reigns officially being cast as Akuma
Oh yeah, yeah, I did call it. Yeah, you're right.
for Street Fighter, along with 50 Cent being
Balrog.
Borog, and you were like, hey, what if Cody Rhodes ends up being Guile? Well, guess what, folks? Cody Rhodes has officially been cast as Guile in the Street
Yeah,
Fighter film.
it's just too on the nose. It's too perfect. Like I said, he literally has an American skull tattoo on his neck. Like,
Yeah.
such an awful tattoo, but if good, if anything, that you ain't gonna see it nowhere else.
I wonder
That
if
tattoo
Cody
did
is
not
gonna
exist
be
before him.
I wonder if he's gonna have the high top cut.
He needs to. Yeah. At
No,
least
I'm
grow
not,
it out a bit.
not in the movie. I'm talking about on WWE television.
Oh, okay. That'd be interesting.
Like,
Nah, I doubt it.
cross promotion, man. Cross promotion.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe this is the heel turn for Cody. I don't know.
Yeah. Because that would be effectively because he was heel when he first left WWE, when he was going to like Ring of Honor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That American Nightmare was very close to like Guile. You know what I'm saying? It is kind of coincide, but he did wear cargo shorts, or not cargo, but cargo pants. And he had like an eye patch, like Snake Plissken and shit. Like he would come down like he was in Metal Gear Solid. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, like that character model. I mean, it would be pretty wild to see him in that. So yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I did call it. Like we were just sitting out here bullshitting on my back patio. 100% right.
You was right. I was like, oh wow, they really did book it. But I mean, like you said, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's head to the last show of the week. The Boutique, SmackDown. And it says SmackDown was pre-taped, doubleheader, because they wanted to give the superstars their 4th of July off. So, honestly, it was a fairly mid-show, and that's why the primo that I have for this was that thank God SmackDown is back to 2 hours.
We didn't even like
to have SmackDown end at 10 o'clock. It just felt right. Everything felt right in the wrestling world again.
Yeah, I mean, when we got 4 hours of AEW every week, and then 7 hours of WWE.
Like, Raw is typically run 2.5 hours. Raw typically runs 2.5 hours. They haven't used the full 3 hours of Raw in a long time. Yeah.
Sure, but I'm just saying this is what we've come from. At the peak, we were dealing with 7 hours of WWE and actually 5 hours of AEW because Rampage ain't on TV no more. So that's the peak of what we were dealing with. 12 hours of and that's just the two major wrestling companies in the US. And then the last one being TNA. But it's like, geez, man. Exhausting.
It's so much.
So much. But yeah, thank God. That's a primo.
That's the primo of the week for WWE in general, in my opinion. But
yeah, just to move us along, because we agree with that. We agree on all these things. The next best moment of the night is here in the sword swing.
Yep.
And we get Drew McIntyre return.
Genuine surprise. I mean, I saw the spoilers from earlier in the week because, it was obviously pre-taped. But I was like, oh, snap, Drew McIntyre's back? I'm glad he's back and he's healthy. He took an RKO from Randy. Looks like, we got Randy versus Drew already set for Saturday night's main event next week. So it's just good to have Drew back. And I'm curious to see if Drew is going to be the catalyst to get Randy to turn heel. Because he will spin some facts. He will spin some facts about how Randy, how Cody, was kind of like using Randy to get into this position. So
yeah, I
want to see, because we saw it a little bit during the King of the Ring match between Cody and Randy at Night of Champions. Randy,
he was teasing. Yeah, he was teasing that.
He was trying to go for the headbutt, but he couldn't do it. He brought a chair in. He didn't use it, but Cody did.
The voices. So, he was stifling the voices in his head. Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see if Drew is getting that catalyst rolling for Randy to make that heel turn.
Yeah. I mean, not Cody. I mean, Randy can always exactly like what I said. He can be like, he said even in this promo, like, hey, you won because I hesitated and you didn't, you know?
Yeah.
But you could easily switch Randy heel and be like, you know what? I deserve this. And you know what I think about it? When I listen to the voices, everything tends to go pretty well for me. Like, actually. So when I'm a
And
ruthless
again,
son of
man,
a
he's getting
bitch.
older,
So
man. How many title reigns he got left? Especially if he wants to beat John Cena's record.
man, he ain't gonna beat it, but I could see him. That would be
I think
poetic
he's like
irony
25.
for
He
them
can
to end
finish.
at 16. I think he could get two more.
He's
I think he could honestly get two more.
what?
But
He's at 14.
yeah, he's at 14. So he could get two more. But I think that's poetic irony to be like, all right, that's it. And now you're just at like the old record. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
But no, it was great to have Drew back. Drew is always Drew is he's just very natural. Again,
yeah.
like
And
kind of like how you said to CM Punk, he doesn't feel like he's playing a character.
mhm,
Same thing with Drew. Drew just feels like, yeah, every time he has a qualm, it just feels like,
mhm.
okay, yeah, you're a little bit like overly passionate about it. Like, not in like he's not exaggerating it, but you could tell that like he's really frustrated about certain things that he's just like, all right, Drew, go ahead, get your stress off. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
always enjoy
And,
Drew because it just feels very organic.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, the best part of, I mean, just immediately hearing it and then the first words of his promo, I just thought, like, because the crowd was so dead here, which it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, it makes sense because it's like, all right, hearing that it's back to back taping, it makes sense. But like, when I heard the line when he's like, immediately when he comes out, he's like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. I was like, I thought that was hysterical. It was just like, how are they not laughing? I'm like, that's funny as shit. But yeah,
he
it
said
makes sense
something
now.
about
They
like
were,
when did all this feminine energy like take over
yeah,
like the division or
the
something like that.
beta male energy
Beta
take
male
over.
energy. That's what he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank God the alpha is back. Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah. Best wrestling on the show was, we agree, Andrade and Ray Phoenix. Franken team, sort of like they are two luchadors. I mean, Andrade is a luchador; he
Yeah,
just
but
doesn't
like
wear
they've
his
only been
pants
put
anymore.
together the last like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but they look great together.
Hmm.
And then to beat a team like I mean obviously like Fraxium has more of their history in NXT as far as being dominant, but you think them being the longest reigning defending NXT champions and then making their way up to the main roster, it's like okay, Fraxium probably should get this match, but not.
Yeah,
Like I was actually somewhat surprised that Andrade and Rey Fenix got beat over Fraxium. So, um, no, they're
I think the
entertaining.
thought.
I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah,
And
like I
again,
said,
it adds to the stacked division of the tag team roster on SmackDown as well.
and not for nothing. I think it's obviously that Solo and Jacob is not over yet for like no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, damn, we didn't even put that on here. That's another mid. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But like very clearly, like when Penta came in and it's like, oh yeah, let's slot him in the IC, like title picture. We would have done the same thing with Ray Phoenix, but because of like Jacob and like the bloodline and shit like that, it's like, okay, this is the next best thing that you can do with Ray, at least to keep him hot. And obviously, like I said, he's showing out, and they're smart enough. Like Triple H is smart enough to understand. Yes, he does not see color, but you do not have to wear a mask to be a luchador. Like he understands that. So it's like, yeah, that was a great pairing of Andrade and Ray. For it to be like, I mean, also the best stuff like that Andrade has done, except for like, yeah, the Carmelo Hayes series. Yeah. Basically, like the most memorable thing he's done since he's come back. So yeah. And I just might as well segue into it. We'll call it mid-stable for Jacob. And I mean, honestly, I'd say mid-rising. I think it's mid-rising. Just the backbone of this episode was, the first person we see coming in is Solo coming in with the title. And like you said, like this thing is hilarious where Jacob pulls up, or not pulls up because he's on foot, the Navigator pulls up or whatever. That's like a 2001 Lincoln Navigator that pulled up. Like that shit, first of all, immediately I found jarring. And I was just like, oh, this is hilarious. Like he's back in like, I was gonna say in too deep, not in too deep, but goddamn.
Like a Big Timers video.
Yeah, exactly. Like immediately I'm thinking of Paid in Full. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah. Like just that image, like where he's in the back and he's like, yeah, look at me, I got the US title, and then Jacob pulls up because he got the window down. and he just beat his ass, and he's hanging out the window halfway. Like he went full cartoon character. Like there's for sure in that, and but that leads us to our main event, which is the tag team of JC Mateo and Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu, which that ends with the My Family Tree that Solo has called them.
That's the faction name now. It's called
MFTs.
Solo's faction. It's called My Family Tree.
Sure. I think you could have put it. I think there's a better way to say it. I'm not gonna nail it down, but I was just like, okay. But yeah, we see a shield bomb to Jacob through the announce table. That's the lasting image going off TV. So yeah, Solo's on top. He should enjoy it. I mean, it's gonna be at least somewhat of an uphill battle. You got to imagine, like, he's clearly outnumbered. The only person on the side is Jimmy. So
yeah, but I feel like you got what is it, Tama?
No, not Tama. You got JC Mateo actively right now. You got Tala Tonga, JC Mateo, and
Tongaloa.
Yeah, Tongaloa. Tonga's still off TV.
I'm saying Tama is probably going to be on
Jacob's side.
Yeah. You have Jimmy. Do you get Jay?
Sure. I mean, we got the world title picture is kind of not tied up. It's just Goldberg, but like, yeah, we don't want to see Jay versus Gunther this year again, for sure.
I'm good on that. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like you need to give Jay something else to do, keep him away from that. So
you could temporarily keep with
help
get
out
back
little bro.
to Usos for a little bit. So at least that's 3-on-3, and then you got. I mean, though you don't have anybody to really match up with Tala Tonga as far as like physical.
Oh yeah, true.
Like the only person I could think of was maybe like Rikishi, Roman Reigns. Like Roman Reigns is not going to stoop down to some cousin bullshit.
Yeah, that would be dope if he did.
Roman Reigns need to be in the middle of War Games, just basically saying like, "Yo, y'all figure it out. I'm here directing this match."
I'm here as ref. No, I don't want.
No, like I said, like he's gonna be like, I'm gonna be telling who's coming out during this War Games match.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
So instead of following like normal road,
if he's doing that, he need to put the Ulafala back on. Like I said, I like the whole tribal chief thing. Like,
sit in your Game of Thrones chair with your Ulafalu and saying like, okay, you come out, you go into the match. Okay, you come out, you go into the match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, basically, you're directing the match. You don't need to be interfering in Lil Cousin's bullshit. So
yeah, but yeah. That's all.
I'll give you mid-stable. I'll give you mid-stable.
Yeah.
You have one shake here. The Y6 over all 4 tag teams.
Yeah, just one representative of like all the top tag teams that we got.
Yeah.
We got Chris Sabin here. We got Montez. We got
Johnny.
An amalgamation team. Yeah, and Johnny Gargano.
I like when Johnny was in the ring with Dexter Loomis and he was like, "Hey, come on, man, we're family. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
Like, come on now."
Going back to like, it's like, bro, it's been so long since NXT.
Yeah, I got released. Come on now.
Yeah, seriously. I got divorced. My wife got fired from this company. Like, come on now. But yeah, that's it. That's good to see the Y6. That's the end of SmackDown for me, unless you got something else for the boutique.
No, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it was fairly mid-show. You can kind of tell that it was a double taping.
Yeah.
Even the show, even Monday Night Raw starting at 6, it didn't feel like it had that same energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I wonder what that double feature. You like when you get to your AMC tickets and like you get like a double feature. Is that like one ticket price?
What do you mean?
Like if they have a special when they like I don't know they're specializing in like you told me before like where they'll specialize in a theme or something like that and they'll show like 2 movies back to back or something. So is that one ticket or is that 2?
That's a good question because I have a subscription. I don't know what the price of that is, but I imagine that's one ticket.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I was just thinking about
they'll show like Final Destination 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Feature, and then I'm like, I assume that's one ticket.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if like they just got the hookup.
I'm curious too. Do they clear out the Raw audience to bring in the SmackDown audience? I don't think they
clearly
do that.
not. Clearly not, because they were tired as fuck. There was no responses in this whole this
And don't
whole
forget,
episode.
you're also recording like what main event and speed, all that stuff. So they saw
Yeah.
probably a good about 5 hours of wrestling that night.
Yeah. Oh, at least 5 hours. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah, that's I was just wondering. I was like, yeah, they got the bang for their buck though. But I was just like, dang, yeah, y'all
yeah, that's
gotta
an
sit through that.
exhausting.
Yeah,
That's exhausting, especially. But like, if you're like I guess for them, you would kind of treat it as like a pay-per-view if you were
yeah,
going to like one
exactly.
of the major four or one like that. So
Hmm.
all right, let's wrap this show up. Let's get to our champions of the week.
Yeah, you go ahead first because you beat me to it because I had another
Yeah,
one right here. It was the
yeah.
most
So my champion
cartoony
actually
thing.
harkens back to SmackDown. Um, so Trish Stratus came out of nowhere and basically got to choose if she, and it's stupid
Tiffany
because
Stratton. Tiffany Stratton came
was
out.
like, I'll let you choose if you want to face Jade or if you want to face me for my title. And it's like, what right mind why would I ever face Jade if I have an opportunity to face off for the title? So
Yeah.
okay, cool. You got Trish Stratus versus Tiffany Stratton at Evolution?
Yes.
Yeah.
At
At
Evolution.
Evolution. Then Jade runs into Trish Stratus backstage and was like, hey, if you win, you're gonna have to face me at SummerSlam. Cool. Jade is just standing there, and then Naomi comes out of nowhere, attacks her with a very awesome looking Money in the Bank briefcase, customized briefcase. Did you see that briefcase?
Yes. So, yeah. Black and yellow. All
Yep.
proceed with caution. Little tassels on it. Caution tape and
Yeah.
stuff.
Great. And then Naomi, like the most Power Rangers cartoon villain ever, says, I guess I told you should have proceeded with caution, and then had the most outlandish character laugh ever.
Yeah.
That I give her. This is the video that I found was for Scorpina from the Power Rangers. She appeared in the Green with Evil series. But my initial thought was Rita Repulsa. But if you look at the video that I have up, it's pretty much the exact identical laugh. But yeah, that's Naomi's belt. She gets the Scorpina or Rita Repulsa outlandish laugh title belt to Naomi because her laugh is just hilariously, cartoonishly evil. And I enjoy it. Like, Naomi genuinely comes off as crazy here. But it's just, I enjoy it.
For sure.
I really enjoy it. It's very hilarious, like how cartoonishly evil Naomi is right now. So shout out to Naomi, you're killing it. I hope you actually cash in successfully your Money in the Bank contract.
Yeah, you are super right about that. That laugh is the same. That's the laugh that I associate with Rita. Like you think that's Rita, that's the Mandela effect, I guess, as a Power Rangers fan or growing up in the 90s.
But she has the. I couldn't find a short one, so I was like, all right, this one will do. But even if you listen to that Power Rangers one, it sounds like the same actress that did the Rita voice also did hers.
Yeah. Could just be a voiceover, and just like a whole crouching next to her.
Those are Japanese Sentai that they just dubbed over.
Yeah. But even just the way she crouches and leans into camera frame and stuff. Should have proceeded with caution. Hit tagline out of here, like you said, like a comic book villain. That shit was so funny. And you beat me to it. This was gonna be what is it? Mandark from Dexter's Lab. Maniacal laugh. Ha 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 ha. That's what it was gonna be. But you beat me to it. So I zigged where you zagged, and I went with the Toy Story. You got a friend in me. Doom, doom. You got a friend in me. Title. Just to the entirety of SmackDown for being the most tag team respected show heavily out of all of the major shows, where this week on SmackDown there was not one singles match. It was all tag team. Every single match up and down the card was a tag team match. And once again, just puts all of the spotlight on Raw when it's bro, we can see you not giving a fuck over here clearly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, literally
versus
on
giving a
SmackDown, you
fuck.
have 4 or 5 legitimate contenders for the tag team belts.
Yeah.
Though,
I'm saying you could have the same thing on Raw. I think they just refuse to do it because are we gonna sit here and say the Creed shouldn't have held the titles, considering the history of those titles. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. They could have held them once by now. You know what I'm saying? We even just played hot potato with Motor City Machine Guns. Granted, they're like, like I say, your favorite tag team, and all that type of stuff between them and DIY. So
You might have
makes
to.
sense.
You might have to move some people over. You might have to move a tag team or two from SmackDown over to Raw.
Well, yeah, seriously.
Maybe you move Andrade and Ray Phoenix over there, and maybe
move them to Raw. Yeah.
Maybe Fraxium. I don't know, but they need a. SmackDown is a little like over. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying they got at least like just
Fraxium should be on Raw.
Between the Wide Six and then that they had what Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits, DIY, and
Los Garzas.
Garza.
Yeah,
Los Garzas. That's 5 tag teams, and then you're adding Andrade, Ray Phoenix, and Fraxium. That's 7 tag teams.
Yeah.
So it's
Fraxium should be on Raw, especially like when you got the Judgment Day over there. You can always have them just chase.
Yeah.
It's a gaggle of a gang, so you know what I'm saying, uphill battle and all that type of shit. You can't have Ray and Penta on the same show without them being Lucha Bros. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's just a little too obvious. But that's it for me. Thank God SmackDown's back to 2 hours.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And next week we have a jam-packed show of pop-up shows. 3 points are on the line.
I'm really not looking forward to it. Like, honestly, I'm not at all. Like, the only one I'm actually looking forward to is All In.
Yeah.
So that's what's gonna suck most about it, really, because it's gonna be. We don't even get paid for this, but this is why it's work. You know, it's really does a hobby now, and I'm like, yo, when I have to watch this so I can comment on it, I'm like, yeah, this feels like work. Like this is. I ain't gonna lie. For the 2 people that are out here watching us, like, I don't want to watch NXT for real. Like Great American Bash. For real.
I don't. I'd rather. Again, that's not even counting Saturday night's main event, which I'm like, I really could care less about that. Couldn't care.
Yeah, I'd take both of those out. I would keep this down to All In and Evolution. Like if I could just skip both of those other 2, but do all the social media engagement things. We promise we're going to get better in this next year. You heard it. This is our year anniversary. We are going to get better. We're going to have some merch. We're going to have a bunch of great stuff for you. Production quality will go up eventually.
Our social media game is going to be, plus on a plus.
Yeah, these clips and stuff. But in order to help us out, follow us here on this YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow us anywhere. You can get your podcasts. We're on Apple Pod, Spotify, everywhere. Yeah. That is basically everywhere. I don't know where else you're listening to it.
It gets spread out through all of that stuff too as well. I use Antenna Pod as my my podcast listening service, and it picks it up from anywhere too. So if you have Stitcher, whatever you get your podcast, you can find us.
Yeah, there you go. And guess until next time, pinkies up, pinkies out. And see you later.
Yeah, don't forget, we also got to bring up, hey, with Cody getting casted as Guile, we still got to remember, hey, we got to put it in the ether. He's going to be making that heel turn. Cody will be saying the N-word at some point.
Yeah, he'll be basically Uncle Sam, but at the peak of like the 1950s, like when he was trying to like thrash the civil rights movement. Like that's going to be Cody's character. The worst case scenario.
All right, y'all. I think that's it for us. Episode 52 in the books. 1 year has been done, and we'll hopefully continue this for another 52 weeks and beyond. So we'll catch y'all next week and talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Peace, y'all.